You never know how that role is going to expand and develop over time, whether it's for a series or a movie or even a commercial. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Danny and this is In Medias Res, where we sometimes start in the middle of things. Today we're talking about 10 things you can do to start your acting career. Alright, so I know that I have a little microphone with me and it does have a clip, but I'm not going to be wearing it on my dress because I don't want it to hit the little moon necklace, be disruptive throughout the whole video. It's been a minute since I've made my last video. The last video that I made was related to my thrifting haul, which is something that I really love to do. I actually have been thrifting since then, so I have a few more items to show you, but not in this video. So if that is something that interests you, subscribe, click that notification bell, otherwise you may not see my videos. But I intend to start making videos again. I'm getting a better feel of my schedule regarding some of the projects that I've been booked for. I'm really excited to talk about those with you in the future, but for now I want to help you, those of you who have a big interest in acting but don't know where to start. I was once there, and even though it always feels like I'm always starting, I know I'm not. It's been years since I've started acting. I've only recently booked some bigger projects. I do feel like along the way I have gathered a lot of information and some helpful tips that I will be sharing with you today to help you get started in your acting career, regardless of your age. Hopefully, if you are under 18, you will be discussing this with an adult that you trust and whom you feel could support you in this acting journey. Let's get comfortable. If you want to go ahead and pause and grab yourself an iced coffee, or if you want to go make some tea, grab some water. We might be here for a while. I tend to try to give as much information as possible, so if you want to press play and kind of just put me on a speaker and then go do your thing as you're listening to what I have to say, that is something that I do with the YouTube videos that I listen to. I find it really helpful to be doing something productive and be listening to an informative kind of video. If this isn't informative enough for you, just go ahead and drop your questions, your comments down below in the comment section so that I can look those over later on and see if I can make a whole video regarding that specific topic. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing I wrote down is to do your research, and that means something that you are literally doing right now, which is watching my video to get some more information on acting. YouTube is a big one, especially now. I feel like there's a lot more information. A lot more people are making it accessible to find information that will help you get started and have a pretty decent head start going into an audition if it is your first one, finding an audition if you've never had one before, and booking work to start off with. That includes extra work or featured extra. Sometimes they call it background work as well. Looking up videos on how to become an actress in California. I would say the competition in California is a lot bit more competitive than it is in other states, but that doesn't mean that it is not possible for you if you are living in that area and that is where you want to pursue your acting career. You can still do it. You can still take all of this information and apply it to your career. You can still do your research, and I'm sure that you can book a lot of projects if you put in the time and the effort into your work. So obviously YouTube is not the only source of information out there. I find it really helpful though, because a lot of people talk about their personal experiences, especially female or women run channels. They talk about how the industry can be dangerous, more so for women, because of people who want to take advantage of their position, such as photographers, directors, or quote unquote screenwriters, or even other actors. It is an industry where you have to be careful about who you trust, who you give your information to, who you give your ideas to, who you trust with your appearance, body, your hair, your makeup. It's a matter of finding a trustworthy photographer, friends, or a group of acting people who know what they're doing and who are not going to take advantage of you. Unfortunately, that applies to life. A lot of people can do that. In this industry, you want to be careful in terms of what you're putting yourself into, what kind of projects you are signing up for, reading the contracts before signing them and getting a second opinion from someone a little bit older, someone you can trust, someone preferably in the industry themselves, someone who can tell you when to say no, because even if you are starting off, you have the right to say no to an audition. Just because you're starting off doesn't mean that you have to say yes to everything. You will become very familiar with websites like Backstage.com, ActorsAccess.com, casting networks, Milk.com. Twitter and Facebook are pretty good websites in terms of following author pages, screenwriter pages. Follow that page and keep up with the information that they're posting. I would strongly recommend looking up some casting agencies in your area, or the casting agencies that are responsible for your favorite shows and your favorite movies as well, so that you can see if they're posting about any new opportunities. A lot of the time people miss these updates, especially on Twitter, surprisingly, because people on Twitter like to follow actors and celebrities, but not the actual writers or directors themselves. I've always found it really helpful to follow these people. They're the ones that are actually creating the content and looking for the talent. They're the ones that have most of the final say in who gets cast for what. I know that we're in a very digitally run world these days, and most of what we do is online, and I know that that is it's sustainable in some ways in terms of not having to print a lot of information. Even auditions, we have a lot of self-tape audition requests going on last year in 2020 because of the thing. I feel like that was a good time for actors to get a head start in acting if they didn't have any prior experience. Although we didn't know what the outcome would be, we still don't know what the outcome is going to be. But because things are looking up, it seems as though anyone who was submitting in 2020 is now being called back for those projects that have been given the green light. Self-tape auditions are one of those things that we can truly benefit from in this era, but I do want to say that there are things in the physical form that we can also benefit from, and that includes books. If you are someone that can't afford to purchase a brand new book, if you can find access to a half-price books or a thrift books, these kinds of stores offer books to their customers for half the price of the original retail price, or even more, maybe 75 to 80% off of the original retail price. You could even go on Amazon.com. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, at least not right now. Amazon, hit me up. And see if they have any free books on acting or performing, stage, theater, the arts in general, so that you can get a better idea as to what you're getting yourself into if you've never done any of this kind of stuff in like high school or middle school and college. Books are a great way to get some more information and actually have a physical copy of that information to keep with you throughout the years. Even if you have as much experience as someone like me who got started in say 2012 or 2013, it always feels like you're learning something new, and maybe 5 years in you will have learned enough that you kind of step away from all of that material and some instructors, but then you realize that you kind of start to lose touch with the terminology, with the technical side of things. So it's always good to keep your memory refreshed in terms of your acting terms and the information that can always be there to help further your career. The second tip is to write down your character types. I can make a separate video on this entirely, but I'll try to keep it short. Finding your character type can be a little bit challenging. We tend to see ourselves a lot different than how other people see us, especially physically. I know I do. I see myself the way that the mirror shows me what I look like, but other people have a different image of me because they're not looking at me through the mirror. They're looking at me in real life, in person. So this also applies to the kind of persona that you give off, whether you try to or not. Other people can say, oh, you kind of give me some grungy vibes, or you're very much an e-girl. You can totally play a mom depending on, your age range and what you want your acting age range to be. I'm 27. The kinds of roles that I personally try to go for range between 18 years old and 30. You definitely want to find the kind of character that you yourself see yourself playing, as well as the character that other people see you playing. Even if you're not that kind of person, say they see, oh, I can totally see you being a mean girl, but you're not. What kind of characters do I feel I could easily resonate with? Sometimes we have to kind of cater to casting directors, making their job easier. They can make our job easier, booking a really cool role, because you never know how that role is going to expand and develop over time, whether it's for a series or a movie or even a commercial. You don't know what the director is going to ask you to do until that moment of the filming date, because they can always change their mind. Switching your roles, having you do something entirely different than what the role originally called for. Just keep that in mind, stay open, stay adaptable, but just know that it is easier to go into this field with a set list of character types that you can work off of and that you can take to a headshot photographer even and let them know, look, these are the kinds of roles that I want, these are the kinds of roles that I see myself playing and my family and my friends see myself playing. So I would like to take some pictures that a casting director can look at and say, she's perfect, he's perfect, they're perfect. Number 3 is consider your physical appearance and your overall look, because it might change. Your looks might change, the way that you feel about your certain haircut, hairstyle, body image even, it might change. You want to carefully consider if what you look like now is how you want to stay for a decent amount of time, so that your headshots do not go to waste, because headshots, keep in mind, cost-wise, will start around $200 to $300. You are getting maybe 3 to 5 professionally taken and edited headshots, but these are the ones that your talent manager or your talent agent, or even yourself if you are not represented, will be pitching to the casting directors, regardless if it is extra work, featured background work, or supporting or leading role. So if you're watching this and you're someone that has known me for a long time, you probably have seen that I've let my hair grow out for a while. That is because my headshots look relatively similar to what I look like now, which is something that I want to keep in mind. I don't want to pitch myself as this brunette and then show up as a redhead. I mean, like red head. Because they can get very confused. You might, by some miracle, get someone who is completely okay with you showing up with a different hair color, but most of the time, people want to see the person that they saw in the headshot in their self-tapes or in that in-person audition. You don't want to shock the casting director when you're walking in. This is something that I mentioned in my previous video about acting headshots. You definitely want to consider, am I going to cut my hair right now so that it looks good for the pictures and then it'll start growing out, but I can always kind of trim it down to that length that I had before. This applies more to people with long hair, obviously. In terms of color, cut, style, weight, and such, there's nothing wrong with either losing or gaining weight. You want to keep in mind, am I about to go on this weight loss kick and lose like 30 pounds? In your pictures, that will make a huge difference if you take it before your weight loss journey and then you show up as someone who is 30 pounds thinner. Something that you will be putting in your acting websites is your size card. If your size is going to be constantly changing, it's going to be a little more challenging to pitch yourself for projects if the casting director gets your size card before you update it and then you're not actually those measurements. I would say try to find a look that is versatile for you, something that you can use quite easily and readily. It doesn't matter what look you want to get. If you want like a wild long pink mohawk, that is totally fine. Just know that the kinds of roles that you are likely going to be called back for are going to match your physical appearance, and if you're not someone who wants to be typecast, then I would suggest leaving your look kind of open and a more natural hair color, a more natural style, and changing it up, especially in your headshots. Make sure to go with those jewel tones as I mentioned in my previous video. I will link it in a title card here so you can watch that. but just thinking about those choices that will affect you long term before you do anything that you spend a lot of money on or that can affect the opportunities that come your way. Just keep that in mind. Okay, moving on to number 5. I mentioned this in my last video as well, and this is to get your headshots done professionally. Nowadays, it's, I would say, pretty easy to find someone who has a really nice camera who can take some awesome pictures, but those pictures oftentimes will not be accepted by a talent agency if you are pitching yourself to a talent agent in order to be represented, or to a casting director. Even though a lot of casting directors now, especially virtually with their last minute casting calls on social media, I've seen Instagram and Facebook, they will say, please submit 2 photos. They don't have to be professional. We just need a close-up, which is the headshot kind of ratio, and then a full body shot kind of showing what your body looks like. It doesn't need to be professional, and that's great. However, you don't want to be submitting super artsy, creative, glamour shots, regardless of them saying it doesn't have to be professional. You want to keep it as natural as possible and as professional looking as possible, even if they were just taken with a smartphone. However, if you are represented by an agency or you are looking to be represented by an agency, you definitely want to get professional headshots done. However, if you're not yet signed by a talent agency, I would say hold off on the headshot. If you do have a really good photo that you can actually print and hand to them so that they have a physical representation to remember you by, along with your name written in the back. If you don't have a resume, go ahead and use that picture because they will need a photo to remember you by. But if you really want to go all in, which is something that I recommend, saving up some money, making sure that it is specifically for your professional headshots, not just professionally taken, but also professionally edited, you might have to spend some $200 to $300, which is totally fine because it's going to pay off, and actually print your favorite headshot, the one that you think this is the one that's going to get me some really cool roles. Print that one. You can use Walgreens, CVS. If you have a printer at home, take that one to the talent agency if it is an open call. If you've already been invited to come in for an audition, that is a headshot that you're going to use in the future if you are signed with them. If they do ask you to sign with them and you don't yet have your professional headshots, that's totally fine. Say you did take just a picture that a friend took or that you took that you thought was really good to pitch to them, that's totally fine, because what some agencies will not tell you beforehand is that they will want you to work with a certain list of photographers that they prefer because of professionalism, previous experiences. They like the work that they do and it kind of blends in seamlessly with their website. So maybe doing a little bit of research on the agency that you would like to sign with if you are trying to get signed, to kind of seeing if they prefer that you wait until you sign with them in order for them to let you know who they would like you to go with or to get your headshots done, or who they would prefer you get your headshots done with. It's not that they won't accept anything else, but odds are the people that they do recommend have some amazing headshots and they'll be happy with that. We're moving on to number 4, and if you are someone that says, I've already done my research, I've read some books, I've written down my character types, I know what kind of roles I'm going for, I know that I want to keep this look, or I'm already going to change it, but that's the one that I want to keep for at least 2 to 3 years maybe, and you already have headshots, but you don't know what the next step is, this one is for you. So if you haven't printed your headshots or gotten them printed yet, you want to print at least 2 of each of your 2 favorite headshots. One that you can pitch to a theatrical kind of performance, which is TV series, episodic series, a film, short films, and then a commercial kind of headshot, which is for commercials. Odds are these are going to naturally look different, and you will know just by looking at your headshots. There will be one photo that may be a little bit more serious than the other. The serious one, if it is a little bit more mysterious, more pitched to the kind of character that you would like to play, that is the one that you want to use as a theatrical pitch. You may find a picture in there where your photographer asked you to smile and maybe they made you laugh, and if it looks very natural, that one will work best for a commercial initial pitch, meaning if you are submitting through Actors Access or Backstage or even in person and you want to book a commercial, you want to print and take the headshot that shows you smiling big naturally, gives off a friendlier / warmer kind of vibe, if that makes sense. This next one is tip number 6 on how to get started on your acting career. And our 6th one is to follow casting agencies on social media. That includes Facebook. Even if you don't use it, I would highly suggest following casting agencies on Facebook. I still use Facebook. I still use Facebook because I'm actually 60 years old inside, sharing little recipes and stuff like that. Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok. TikTok especially is growing in terms of the talent industry. We have a lot of casting agents, casting directors, screenwriters, and even fellow actors who are on TikTok now. It is very popular for creating content, consuming content, learning information, giving information, but also opportunities that these people are not going to post on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Twitter is good for updates. You can turn on the notification bell for different casting directors, casting agents, talent agencies, screenwriters, even authors, because you never know when one of your favorite authors is going to get one of their book series turned into a film or television show. So if you do follow casting agents or casting agencies on, say, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or TikTok, I'm not sure if TikTok lets you turn on notifications, but all of the other 3 do. So if you go in there to their profile and click that little notification bell, just like you are doing for me in this video and YouTube channel, so you can know when we're posting, you will be updated pretty frequently in terms of what they're posting about. Obviously, most of the time they're going to be posting about the types of projects that they've already cast. You just never know when they're going to be posting a new opportunity that you can take advantage of. So it's good to stay on top of that, even though for some people it may be a little bit annoying to be on your phone and be constantly checking updates. If this is something that you want, I would say social media is a great medium for actors, singers, dancers, performers to stay updated for these kinds of opportunities. So we're moving on to tip number 7, which is to take note of special skills, talents, other languages, and any other details you feel confident in and or are fluent in order to pitch yourself to a talent agency or a project. If you play guitar, play the tuba. If you are a singer, you've been in choir your entire life, you play the piano, play tennis, basketball, any kind of sport, any special skills, especially weird talents. These are the kinds of things to note and write in your resume. Now, if you don't have any work experience, writing your resume could be a little difficult, right? Because you do need work experience. But for your acting websites, you want to be putting that information in there. When you put your size information, you put your legal name and your stage name, you definitely want to take note of whether you speak fluent Korean or whether you read and write but don't speak it. You also don't want to lie about anything that you don't feel confident in, or maybe you did it once in your life and you say, yeah, I can do that. Preferably don't. Casting directors want someone who is a professional in that subject, skill, in that talent. If it's something that you actually know that you can do when you are asked to do it, and if you can do it for several hours out of the day for multiple takes, then that is something that you want to write down in your special skills section. If you are someone who feels like they don't really have any skills or talent, you probably might just be comfortable in one language, you've never really tried to learn a different language, I would say do that. Put yourself out there, push yourself out of your comfort zone, learning new things, acquiring new skills. These kinds of things will lead you to better opportunities, I guarantee it. Something that I like to do is to go on Groupon, and no, I'm not sponsored by Groupon, although hey, Groupon. I like to go on Groupon and you can look up certain classes on, say, archery, stage combat, even being acquainted with a weapon for law enforcement or tactical kind of roles, guitar classes, piano classes, singing lessons, especially acting lessons. These are the kinds of things that you want to invest your time, effort, and money in. It's not going to go to waste. You're going to feel much more confident when you go into an audition or when you pitch yourself for a certain role, when you do have that stuff under your belt and you know that you're still going to these classes, or you know that you did it more than once and you know you can do it if they ask you to do it. Acting is something that really pushes your boundaries in terms of, this is terrifying, but I want to do it. I'm going to try it, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to put some time and effort into it. And this is how I'm going to do it. This is one of the things that you could do in order to definitely put you ahead of the competition. We're moving on to number 8, and that is to search for a talent agency or talent agent near you. This is for my people watching who do not have any representation and would like to be represented. Having representation means that you have someone who is looking for jobs for you. That doesn't mean that you can't. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It just means that you have, in part, a team who is rooting for you, because if you get paid, then they get paid. Not only that, your success is their success. A lot of agents, most agents just want to see you succeed because they want to be proud of that. They want to say, hey, this is someone that I represent. This is someone that I helped get this role, and I'm so proud of where we are, we as a team. So having a talent agent whom you feel connected to, with an agency that you feel represents the values that you also represent, I feel is really important for an actor in their career to help bring opportunities to the table. Searching for a talent agency near you is going to be beneficial in driving to the audition if they do call you for an open call. If they've set up an audition for you, you can find it much easier to show up, drive there, or be driven there, or whatever form of travel you take. It could even be in a different town or a different city, but it is within the state, so you would find it easier to go to them instead of going to, say you're in Texas and you want to pitch yourself to someone in New York. That is totally possible. You just need to see if they are accepting outside talent, and you can also find yourself there if you are willing to put in the time, effort, money, and if you have people behind you, if you are underage, who can help get you there. However, if you do have a talent agency that is near you, you will find it much easier to show up whenever you need to in terms of any acting classes that you can take advantage of. If they need to see you in person for any paperwork or for any events that they're kind of sponsoring and involved with so that you can kind of participate in. There are talent agencies. Again, talent agencies are the ones that represent actors, performers. Talent agencies most of the time nowadays will have a public social media profile, mostly Instagram, mostly Twitter, and now even TikTok. Sometimes Facebook. I would say Facebook is less popular for talent agencies. In terms of casting agencies, Facebook is a good place to go to. In terms of talent agencies, Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok are great platforms to kind of get started, get a better feel, kind of view their content, see if they are holding any open calls. And if they are holding an open call, you can reach out. If they are interested in working with you, they can reply with a form for you to fill with your information. If they are interested in working with you, they will respond with a time, date, and place for you to show up to your audition. So now that brings me to my next tip, which is if you do get an audition with a talent agent or talent agency, you want to go in prepared, and I mean prepared. Even if you're feeling nervous, you want to eat something light at least an hour to an hour and a half before, not right before. If you're a coffee drinker, hold off on the coffee, trust me. Hold off on the caffeine until after, when you can reward yourself. If you're someone who gets easily nervous, especially around other people or performing, that doesn't mean that you're not meant to be an actor. That doesn't mean that you're not meant to be a performer. That doesn't mean that you're in the wrong field. It is perfectly natural for you to still feel nervous and for you to feel like you have to go to the restroom right before the audition. My point is, you want to go in prepared with a clear head, as clear as possible. If you are someone who likes to meditate beforehand. If you are the kind of person that kind of feeds off of other people's energies, and that is how you yourself gain energy and strength, have that support group to reference back to, just to kind of feed off of that energy and to keep you going throughout the day. Afterwards, regardless of how it went, you still had an audition and you deserve a reward, so you can celebrate after with your friends, your family, your significant other, or even with yourself, however you would like to. So going in with a clear head, a clear mind, a clear spirit, as much as possible anyway, reducing the caffeine intake little to none. If you have any grounding techniques, this is gonna sound strange to some people, but to others, you may actually relate. When I feel like I am on edge, I like to lay on the floor and just lay there without any sound going on. If I start to feel better, I will put on some music, especially frequency music, to match the intention of what I'm trying to do. First, I start off with, you don't have to do that. This is just something that I like to do, and it may be weird. It may, might surprise some people if you share a house with someone and they walk in and they're like, what are you doing? We all have our rituals, our own thing that can help us soothe our minds, soothe our spirits, soothe our souls, and that is something that helps me. I don't think you will want to do this once you're at the audition because it might be distracting to some people and it might be a very bad first impression. So in private, in the comfort of your own home, if you want to lay down on the floor on your back, please do so. You want to make sure, this is very, very important, you want to make sure that you have a dramatic monologue and a comedic monologue ready. This could be between 1 to 3 minutes long, preferably not longer than 3 minutes. I would say 3 minutes is the max that a casting director or talent agent would like to hear from you. Normally, casting directors do have you perform a comedic or dramatic monologue depending on the kind of role that you're doing. If it's a self-tape, a lot of casting directors do request that. 99.9% of the time, if not 100% of the time, the talent agent will ask you to perform either one of the two or both. And if you do not have that prepared, which is not very professional, learn from my mistakes. Please have one of those prepared, if not two. They will ask you to perform a cold read, which means that they have the material for you to read, they will give it to you, and then they will ask you to read it according to the direction that they give you. So if it is for a commercial, it'll be a small paragraph, it'll last maybe like 30 seconds, but you will need to give off the kind of voice and character to perform that material. Depending on the kind of cold read that they ask you to do, that is the kind of energy that you want to match to that cold read. I still recommend that you either create a monologue or look up a monologue, a dramatic one and a comedic one, because I had no idea at one point. Before we move on to our next and final tip, and I know that this is a giant mason jar of coffee. Will I finish it? Probably, yeah. Is it good? Also, yes. Do I need it? Questionable, but I don't have an audition like I mentioned earlier, so cheers. Comment down below if you think you know what flavor my coffee is. Let's do that. Okay, if you're watching this all the way through, you've stuck around for all the information and you want to win something, let's do a competition. If you can guess what flavor, there are 2 flavors in my coffee. If you can guess what flavors are in my coffee, I will choose you as a winner. You can send me your shipping address. I will send you a little present and I will handwrite you a note. And I'll send you my headshot. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to send you my headshot, but I'll send you something. So yeah, comment down below what flavor coffee you think. Like I said, 2 flavors. If you get those right, you win something. If you only get 1 right, I will pin your comment. Let's say that you've had all of these things, done your research, written down your character types, and you're pretty sure what kind of characters you would like to pitch yourself to and what kind of characters you would be good for. Say you've already gotten your haircut, you know that you're going to keep it for a while, you've gotten your headshots done, gotten them printed, gone to the agency, maybe you're waiting to hear back, following all of these casting agents and talent agencies on your social media platforms. You've done your research, read some books, watched my videos, you've subscribed and hit that notification bell, prepared a dramatic monologue and comedic monologue as well, and now you have the audition. You've probably even done your audition and maybe you're waiting to hear back. Maybe you're already signed with them. If you do not have a resume, which at this point they probably don't expect you to either, unless it mentions your special skills, languages, or any talents that you want them to be aware of, you might end up leaving them with just a headshot and your name in the back. However, I would recommend attaching some sort of resume to your headshot so that they have something to go off of. Even if it seems like there's not much on it, you would rather have less than too much that isn't even true. So the last step Tip number 10, your job is to practice those monologues, practice lines from your favorite TV shows or your favorite films in front of a mirror with your phone. This is going to help you hone your craft, make it easier for you when you do have auditions, when you do get a call back, get some interest in terms of booking work. You will have recorded yourself enough times or even actually submitted self-tapes and kind of played around with how long an audition self-tape should be, or even performing in front of family members or friends so that they can give you some feedback. Keep in mind, other people's feedback can most of the time be constructive criticism, but you don't always have to take the feedback, if that makes sense. If you are trying to practice in front of people who don't exactly support your goals, you might not be getting the kind of feedback that you need. And that isn't to say that you're not getting positive feedback, because they might just be honest with you. There are people who want to see you succeed, there are people who want to support you, and then there are people who might not be as supportive as others will be on your journey. Try to keep an open mind, but make sure to keep practicing and be inspired. Watch your favorite films, watch new films, watch different genres than you're normally used to watching. Pay attention to how your favorite actors kind of perform on screen, what they seem to be aware of that you don't really think about unless you really start paying attention. When you go watch a movie, in the opening or ending credits, you can look at the casting agencies, the directors, and then kind of take notes as to what projects they typically cast for, and you're staying updated with what they're posting about. I'm not gonna say that it is impossible for you to just sit back, relax, enjoy life, and have a huge opportunity just fall on your lap. The odds of that are very slim. This is a kind of career that involves putting yourself out there quite a lot, and for someone who is either soft-spoken, shy, introverted, it does not mean that you will not succeed, that you will not find opportunities or have opportunities presented to you, but you do have to make an effort. Those are my 10 tips. I may have shared one or two more. I hope more than less, but I hope that this information has helped. Some of it may seem very general. You still might not be so sure as to what agencies to look for, and that really depends on the area where you live. If you have any questions, make sure to leave that question in the comment section down below, or you can find me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I mostly use it to stay updated. I do also have a Facebook page for my YouTube stuff, as well as my Instagram stuff, and I also have a Facebook page for my music stuff, which I am working on. It's been a very slow progress, but I do play music, I play guitar, I write my own songs. I am not on any streaming platforms yet, but we're getting there. All right, those are all my tips for today. Like I said, if you want me to make a video specifically on one topic, I can totally do that, and I promise it will be a lot shorter. I do like to put as much information as possible so that you guys have your questions answered. I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope that you have found some encouraging words within this video as well. If you feel that maybe you don't have enough people in your life who think that this is something that you should pursue. Trust me, I know, but if this is what the heart wants. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and sticking through to the end of the video. Don't forget to comment the 2 flavors of iced coffee that you think I'm drinking, just so I can see who actually stayed to watch to the very end. And if you're interested in winning a little something from me, I would love to ship you something and give you a little handwritten note as an appreciation watching my stuff and subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.